All right, we're doing it. This is episode 301.
Gosh.
Or one after 300.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. No Laugh Track podcast here at Acme Comedy Company in Minneapolis. This is Justin. I am the host. And back with me for do you know how many times you've been on this podcast?
A couple, right? 3? Right. I have to tell you, I haven't done much since the last time I was on.
That's the voice of Laurie Kilmartin, by the way.
An hour's worth of life. Just so you know.
Stop it.
This should be a short one, like 10 minutes.
We will stretch that to 2 hours. That's. Let me just get something clear. You wanted to start earlier today. We were going to do this at 3, and you said, "Can we do it a little earlier?" Because you wanted to do a really long one and end at the same time.
No. Is that
did I misunderstand?
You did. This is.
You know what? We'll just do it anyway.
It's not live, right?
No.
Okay, because I'm going to go swimming, and I'm afraid that if I let people know the pool I'm going to, that I'll be mobbed by a lot of my fans, and I need to have my lane to myself. Sure. So I wanted to get my swim over with earlier.
I totally understand. This, by the way, is your 5th.
Oh my God!
I don't have like a 5 appearances, like you don't get a jacket or anything, but
wow,
yeah, 5 times, Laurie.
Wow,
yeah. Mm-hmm. So congratulations.
I hear your listeners fast forwarding past me right now. Oh, her.
Hell no. They're like, what's new? What's next? I think the first thing I should ask you, because I've been listening to some episodes of the Jackie and Laurie podcast. I need to ask you, how is everyone's health in your family? Well,
my son is having surgery on Monday, and
I heard crutches.
He's on crutches. He tore his ACL. And they have to do a specialized one because he's so young and he's still growing. So they're going to take part of his IT band and fashion an ACL out of it.
That's not a real thing.
Yes, it is. And I had to do a lot of searching for doctors who would take on an 11-year-old. So that's happening on Monday. Yikes. And then my mom is, it's the end of life. She's 81. She's falling apart. She's in and out of hospitals. So she's in one now, but she might be going home on Saturday. So I have to arrange from Minneapolis someone to pick up my mom, and it's like everyone's falling apart on me, and I'm really tired of it. In fact, get your shit together, people. Get your hips in their sockets. Keep your ACLs, please.
Yeah. Have you said is there a good story behind an 11-year-old damaging their ACL?
No, he was just playing basketball on the schoolyard. He, according to one of the doctors, he has loose knees, which means that the other one could also rip at any time. So
that sounds like the lamest insult. Whatever, loose knees.
I know. It's good for some sports like swimming and flexibility, but it's really bad for basketball and soccer and stuff, where you're going to land hard and twist. If you don't have a solid knee joint or whatever, then the ACL is more likely to tear.
I'm gonna guess now that I have been living my life with undiagnosed loose knees.
Yeah,
because I suck at basketball. And
it's different. Sucking at basketball is
it's because I suck.
A different non-athletic skill that you have.
I know.
That's different.
But also, I'm holding back because I don't want to hurt anything.
So you're instinctively holding back? So
sure,
part of your brain knows that your knees are...
No, I'd like to say so, but no. But you did, and I heard on another one of your episodes of the Jackie and Laurie show that you mentioned trying to find a place to do laps. So you did find one.
I did, yeah. Jackie's sister, Darla, pointed the way to this. There's a new pool called the Phillips Aquatic Center. They just renovated the pool. It's about a $13 lift ride. I don't even know distance anymore. I just know how much it costs me to swim. Yeah. One workout here is like $26. But you know what? It keeps me sane, and so it's worth it. It's like an indoor 25-yard pool. It's really nice. It's brand new. I think they just renovated it or something. It used to be kind of dumpy or something, but It's great.
How do you get your swimming in back home?
I swim at the Verdugo pool in Los Angeles.
Indoor, outdoor?
That's outdoor. And then in New York, at the Riverbank Aquatic Center on 145th.
Yeah. I know you and I have talked swimming in the past because I nerd about that because I was a swimmer as well, if you don't remember that. And I'm this close to getting maybe one or both of my daughters into swim teams.
Yeah.
Super close.
How old are they?
10 and 12?
Yeah.
Yeah. Super
Do they know how to swim?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. My younger daughter is a little confused because she's like, but I don't need lessons. I'm like, no, that's not. Oh, yeah, I know. We're beyond lessons. This is like you're going to race people and like hard practices. I shouldn't say that, but fun practices.
There's other, like at the Verdugo pool in Burbank, they have a synchro team and they have a water polo team. Like there's so many swimming activities that are competitive and available to your daughters if they don't like racing.
Yeah, I want them. They're not doing any other sports. I've never pushed anything.
Yeah,
I think this would be a good one. And
swimming's a good one to push.
Like the water.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't. It's really good for your body, and it's something you do your whole life. And if they do get into it, it's so time consuming. You rarely have the time to do drugs.
Laurie, honestly, that's one of the big reasons as well. But not just drugs. Just like, I don't know, freaking YouTube videos and, anything that don't know 100% about that I'm like,
My son has a YouTube channel. He loves YouTube. He wants to be a professional YouTuber.
Everyone that age does.
I know. But he really wants it.
He really wants it. What is he doing?
He plays Fortnite on YouTube, with a little picture-in-picture. And then he just told me, he goes, not enough. I'm not getting as many views with Fortnite because there's so many Fortnites. But when I do Call of Duty, I get a lot more views. So he's already studying analytics and figuring out how to, serve his user base, I guess.
I'm hanging out with an old friend of mine tonight that lives in Florida now. Mm-hmm. That is, my age, in his early 40s. That is also what he's doing part-time right now, is playing video games with his picture in the corner.
Does he make money at it?
I don't think so. I'm going to find out tonight, but I don't think so. It's not Fortnite. It's some other PlayStation game. But
I bought tickets to see this guy. He's an Irish guy, and he's the only... he swears a lot, but I let my kid watch it because I'm like, that's how the Irish talk. You can't, but you can't talk like that.
It's cheaper than a trip to Ireland.
So maybe not after we go. We're going to see a show at a theater. We're at the Ace Theater in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know what he does. He might just play a video game in front of a theater audience.
You're going to a theater to see a YouTuber.
$34 a ticket, which believe me, I've never talked anyone into paying $34 to see me.
To see you?
No, I'm free. I'm Groupon. I'm 2 for 1. I'm free drink if you sit through her. But this was 34 flat. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to trash this guy. What if maybe I'll enjoy it. Maybe I'll get new ideas. But it's weird.
Yeah, you'll be a subscriber 10 minutes in.
It's weird. What these kids, what their version of entertainment is different from ours.
Oh yeah,
and ours was different from our parents. Like obviously I'm stating the obvious, but each generation gets its own thing that they love, and the other generations can't stand or don't understand. It's
so weird to me that the TV broadcast I've coming in I've switched to YouTube TV, so it's the streaming service is how I do. Like I'm not using
YouTube Red.
No, it's called YouTube TV. So
I tried that, but I hardly ever used it.
I really like it.
Why?
Minneapolis has in St. Paul, the Twin Cities, we have the locals. I signed up, so it's still only $35 a month. Now it's only $40, but I'm getting a $35. So it's basically every cable channel I had for a third of the price I was paying to a satellite company.
Oh, so you get like TBS?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But the only Comedy Central actually is not included. So I think they're a Viacom or something or whatever. Company.
Where will you see white male comics if you can't subscribe to Comedy Central?
Laurie, I have
That's
Netflix.
Terrible.
Come on. We also have Netflix, so got that covered. But I'm amazed at how I could cancel. It really is only for me.
Yeah.
Because no one else, I have a wife and 2 daughters, no one watches television in the house anymore.
No
it's
one
me
watches...
watching sports. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they're on Netflix, my wife, or YouTube, my kids.
Yeah, and they don't watch it when it airs. That's one of the reasons Conan is going to a half hour.
Yes, let's talk about that for sure.
Because they kind of figured out, well, most people watch it the next day, right? And they watch it in clips.
Yeah.
And they figured out that parts of the show they watch the most are the comedy and I guess the first guest.
Okay.
And then it starts to trail off. And I was like, for me, just as a late night viewer growing up, I always turned it off as soon as the first guest was over, unless there was a stand up on or something. But if I never watched music. It was always boring to me to see a band play on late night, on any sort of late night.
Yeah.
And usually the second guest was somebody you'd never heard of. And
somebody with a book I don't care about.
Yes. Oh, we'll get to that later, my book. But yeah, so I think it kind of made sense of if you follow how people are, this is such an industry consuming their media,
right.
which I think is what they were doing. It's like, a huge percentage was just the first half of the show. So I think that contributed to that decision,
Okay. When are these changes?
They start in January.
They start in January.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
they need going to keep everybody. Everybody keeps their jobs. And
well,
nobody
not
gets
every.
cuts?
I mean, they did shrink down a little bit, but the comedy is still going to be. It's going to be the same amount of comedy.
Yeah.
So it's more the back half of the show that's just being lopped off.
Then more on the road shows or no? That
I don't know about. I mean, I know he's going to be touring a little bit, I think, and doing some live stand-up shows. So I don't know. I'm excited to find out about that. I'm happy anytime somebody leans into stand-up,
Yeah.
That's good for stand-up. And,
yeah, for sure.
Hopefully me. Because I'm a stand-up.
It's still going well. Obviously, you must love that job.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I go back. I don't go back on Monday because my kid's surgery, but I'll be writing jokes while my kid is under the knife.
Yeah.
From the hospital.
Vacation is this week, though.
Yes.
4th of
Yeah.
July week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right on. How when did you come to town this week? Wednesday?
I flew in on the 4th of July because it was way cheaper than flying in on the 5th of July.
Oh, okay.
So I got here early. I did a set at Grumpy's,
Wow.
Chris Maddox room, and Andrew Andrew W.
Okay.
He's a local comic. I forgot his last name. It kind of looks like Winter, but it's not.
Okay.
You don't know him?
I don't.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
No.
So anyway, he hooked me up, and so I got to do a little time, work out the kinks. I'd been off stage since Saturday. I usually don't like to take more than 2 nights off, and I took Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 nights off. So it was nice to have something on Wednesday before I started here.
Okay.
On Thursday.
Nice. How was last night?
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
Okay. How Acme? It's only like a special occasion if there's a show here on a Sunday. How often do you work on Sundays?
Not much. I just got a weekend at Go Bananas in Cincinnati, and it's a Thursday through Sunday, which isn't common. But usually most gigs end on Saturday.
Okay.
Most like week-long rooms end Saturday.
I have another question about the. It was about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and they did that. Jimmy Fallon wanted to reply to the Trump, they're going back and forth.
Right.
And then there was that open where it was Colbert and Fallon, and then Conan comes on.
Yeah.
Were you part of that?
No, I saw it the same time everyone else did. Yeah, that was on our vacation. So Conan always does these things on our vacation where you're on the on Twitter going, wait, what's happening? What did my boss just do?
It's kind of a different thing though that. They don't always acknowledge each other, right? Late nights.
Yeah, I mean,
it's different than when 20 years ago when it was like all we would hear about is how Jay Leno hates Letterman and vice versa.
Leno took something from Letterman, you know, but I don't think these guys have that animosity towards each other,
Yeah. I suppose.
But I mean, I think it would happen more if they didn't have to each do shows every single day. It's very time consuming to do a show every single day.
Yeah.
And then to be able to get, hosts together after. I mean, luckily Conan was on hiatus, so it's probably easier for him. But it's hard to organize all that stuff. It'd be cool if they kind of crossed over a little bit more. It's fun. It's fun for comedy fans, you know?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's great. You know, like I know like when people are at a job for a while and you get really good at it, and then you can kind of like figure out shortcuts and like get things done faster. Does that happen for you in a writing job? Like, can you get done in 5 hours what you used to get done in 6 hours?
Yeah, I write jokes faster. I guess because I've been doing it so long. I've been on this show for 8 years. I feel like I you know, versus when I first started where I didn't really know Conan's voice and I was like, you know, would he do this kind of joke or that kind of joke? Now I'm pretty, you know, I'm like 80% right, you know, and on of guesses. Like sometimes I'll write a joke and I'll be like, there's no way he's going to do this. And then he'll do it and I'll be like, oh, wow, cool. And then other times it's like, yeah, I was right. But, you know, you still throw things in there just to see if you can, you know, there's like everyone's got their limits. So you like a joke that kind of touches the boundary of the limit. Like, I wonder if I can get that one on.
Sure.
You know,
is there, I don't know if I've ever asked you this, but is there like in the writer's room, are there 4 women, 4 men, 2 are black, 2 are Asian?
Yes, that's exact makeup of our. And once we checked off all those boxes, we stopped hiring.
How many in wheelchairs?
Me soon, just so I can join the rest of my family in mortal danger. But I don't. There's 2 women and maybe 7 guys. I think we have a pretty small writing staff.
Yeah. Okay.
7 or 8, maybe. Yeah.
Would it be easier to write for a woman? I don't know if I've ever asked you that before.
Sometimes there's jokes that a man would never be able to tell, and so you know those are just gone. But I think you know if you're writing for somebody else, you just need to get their voice in your head.
Sure.
You know, so no matter who it is, if you can mimic. I don't think females can only write for women, and I don't think men can only write for men. And as long as you can kind of, it's almost like maybe it's the same sort of skill that it takes to be an actor to just sort of get someone else in your head a little bit, you know? So, and I guess anyone who's writing, if you write characters at all, you're getting a different voice in your head. Sure. So I think, you know, it's doable for any, you can cross over. You don't have to write for your exact gender and race for sure.
Sure. I saw, was it yesterday on your Twitter? Your Twitter's still one of the best.
Oh, thanks.
I sincerely mean that. It was, you said something about, I still have faith in comedy because of so many people tweeting you with things about Scott Pruitt is resigned to spend more time with his...
Well, or spend more X with his Y.
X with his Y.
Somebody wrote money with his family, time with his... whatever it was. But it was just like, I saw that joke all day long. Versions of it, you know?
After that, I did the Twitter search of those 3 words.
Oh, really?
And there were hundreds probably.
People still love jokes.
Down one and like just slight changes.
Yes, you don't have to worry. Hannah Gadsby's special isn't going to destroy jokes like some people were panicking about. You know, she just is widening the boundaries of comedy a little bit.
Can you explain what I've heard very little about what you just referenced?
Have you seen her special?
I haven't watched it. I know the name and I know that it's on Netflix, right? Yeah, but I have not watched it.
Okay.
What's the hubbub there?
Well, it's hard to explain because you got to watch it.
Oh, okay.
Because of the way it sort of starts and kind of turns back on itself.
Okay.
But it's got some parts that aren't funny and on purpose, and those are very moving parts.
She's an Australian?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so, you know, it's really, really great. And then the reviews of it have been weird for comics because there seems to be a certain kind of reviewer that's like, she's killed jokes and good. I'm tired of jokes. And they seem to be angry at comedy. And it's like, no, she didn't. She's just doing her thing. And that doesn't have anything to do with, you know, somebody else's thing. And so it was sort of interesting. The reaction by some comedians or by all comedians is always interesting to me when comics are watching another comic.
Sure.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
like I just love searching Nanette on Twitter to find out. You know what people like. Some people don't like it, or they think, you know.
That'll be my next search.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm looking forward to it.
It's like, oh, it's a TED Talk, it's a this, it's a that, and you know, whatever. All opinions are valid if they've been informed by watching it. You know,
Sure.
So, but it's really really good.
Okay.
And whether you consider it stand up or a one person show by a comedian, so it's funny but it's poignant. You know, however you categorize it is up to you, I guess.
All right. I'm interested. I'll check it out. I probably should, since I host this podcast. I should check it out. But speaking of specials, on the last time that you recorded No Laugh Track here with me, we talked a lot about 45 Jokes About My Dead Dad, because that was still airing on a CISO.
CISO was still airing.
And CISO still existed. Where is your special now?
I don't know.
People literally can't access it right now?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. In fact,
so bizarre.
After Nanette came out, I'm like, I called the guy that we co-produced it. Like I did it, and then this other production company kind of like added all the documentary footage and stuff.
Right. Oh, that's so good.
Thanks. So I called him and he didn't call me back. And then I texted him, and then he's like, I know I owe you a call. I'm like, oh, this doesn't sound good. Usually when someone's got good news, they let you know right away. But if it's like, hey, I owe you a call, let's talk next week, I'm like, oh, this sounds like it's buried for a while. I think CISO licensed it for 3 years. So I guess, unless I'm misunderstanding, they own it till December of 2019. But they're owned by NBC.
Okay.
Universal.
Yeah.
So
The parent company.
they might want money to get it back. I'm not really sure. And if that's the case, it's like, well, you can keep it for another year and a half, and then I'll grab it. I just hope
You could turn it into one of those like Conan did when he won. Like, I'm not forbidden to be on television, so I'm going out on tour. You got to hype it like that. Like, do a countdown to when it's available again.
I was thinking I wonder if I could tour with the material, because it's been 4 years. Or excuse me, when did I do it? In 2014. Yeah. So it's been almost 4 years since I wrote all that stuff, and I've changed as a comic at that point since then, and it's much easier for me to talk about my dad's death than it was then.
Sure.
And I wonder if I could actually just do it as a show, because no one can watch it anymore anyway. But probably not. I probably just go forward.
Everybody goes over to do that Fringe festival with like a one-person show.
Yeah.
Perfect for that.
Yeah,
Sean Patton was here earlier this year talking about going over to do his show about bedwetting. You know?
A whole hour about bedwetting?
I think so.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Uh-huh.
I don't have a month off. You have to have all of August off.
Sure.
Off, and I really don't.
Yeah.
So I have those kind of obstacles too, where when I can go out on the road and do things are little tiny spurts like this.
Sure.
So that's that's an obstacle too.
Sure.
Which I won't have one day. I'm not going to always have a job forever. Nothing works out like that. So. Maybe I'll be like 70 and at Edinburgh just talking about whatever. I don't know.
There you go. I saw that you are going to be let's talk about the book now.
Okay.
Let's talk about the book. It's been out since February. Dead People Suck. Mm-hmm. We talked about, I think when you were here last year, you had finished writing it, but it wasn't out yet. And I saw you're doing a signing. You're staying in town here.
Yeah, I'm doing an extra. Yeah, once I got this gig, my book publicist, hooked this up at Majors and Quinn.
Very cool.
So yeah,
an actual bookstore that has a roof and walls and everything, and it's just not just virtual.
I know. I hope it's weird. I've done a bunch of them, and like the one I sold the most was at Powell's in Portland.
Okay.
It's an old historic bookstore. It's great. It's amazing. It like takes up many city blocks of Portland.
Wow.
And then there's other places where I'd go and I'd read, and it's all about my dad and hospice and cancer and stuff. And it's and people would talk to me and they'd tell me about their loved one who died, and then they wouldn't buy a book. It's like, I'm not your fucking therapist. I'm here to sell a book.
Come on.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so. There's this guy in Austin at Book People going on and on about his wife, and then I'm there sitting there afterwards with books and a pen.
They'll literally wait in line to tell you their story. Is that what you're saying?
No. There's like Q&A at the end, right?
Okay.
And then, so I'm like, all right, no more questions. I go sit down. There's a couple people buy books. Thank you so much, and then they just wander off. It's like, I had to listen to your story.
Right.
You buy a book. That's the agreement, asshole.
Completely.
Jesus.
I
enjoy your sense of humor. Okay, pay for it.
Yeah.
Here, it's all over this book. My book is full of my sense of humor because I wrote it.
You know what?
You'll really enjoy it.
And then share it with other people.
No, tell them to buy it. What do you?
No, I'm saying share the idea of it.
Thank you.
Yes, share the idea that it exists for them.
I posted a chapter or like the intro to a chapter yesterday. You know, I do that just to plug it sometimes on Twitter, and it was the chapter about if cancer was an STD, there would be a cure by now. You know, because we've cured syphilis, we've almost have a cure for AIDS. So, and it was just the opening chapter with a couple jokes in it, and then somebody is like, actually, having been a cancer survivor, I can tell you that's not true. I'm like, look, I'm a comedian. It's a comedy book. Please don't go to me for medical advice.
Yeah.
And then he starts breaking things down. I'm like, look.
Listen, Dick, I didn't put your name on here. I didn't write your story.
So then I go, why don't you can get a copy of my book if you want to read the whole chapter, because you're just reading the setup to the punchlines. You can go to the library. And he goes, thank you for promoting it on the library, not making me buy it. I'm like, fuck you. Is everything free to you?
Oh my God, dude.
I'm on Twitter for free. You're arguing with me. Now you want this for free. Yeah, and maybe you need it for free, but you could at least not be an asshole about it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Whatever. I hate people.
That just makes my skin crawl.
Yes.
Oh, Laurie, sometimes people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I saw that there's an audiobook as well. You voiced the audiobook?
Sure. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah. How was that, doing that?
I did most of it in a little room, where you do audiobooks, and where like every 4 sentences someone will go, oh, can you try that again one more time, please? You just hear this voice in the back of the room. One more time on that one. Thanks. And then I did some chapters at the Stand Comedy Club, where I just did a live reading in front of an audience of drunk book people.
Oh.
They were a pretty good cross Friday afternoon.
Okay.
So that was fun. And so I think it goes back and forth between the stand-up part, or feels like stand-up because there's an audience laughing, and me being in a room with lots of padding.
Oh, okay. Yeah. On Amazon, I listened to an audio sample.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I was like, I want to hear her reading this. Yeah, that's got to be just like I don't know. I've never written a book, but I imagine it's really cool to be able to sit there and like that's kind of, I would think that's kind of like the final piece. Like, all right, now I'm going to read it and put it to like it's written. Now I'm going to get the audio part. Now we're done.
No. You're incorrect.
No, you're close.
Because
no,
I would say almost every writer would agree with this. You never feel like it's finished.
Oh,
and so you have a deadline. Mine was due, well, let's say November 18th or something like that. Yeah. And once I turned it in, I couldn't change anything. And so there's so much you're rereading, you're rereading. Oh, this sentence isn't clear. You just keep finding things that you want to be better. And I also I think, in my opinion, with comedy, there are so few funny books that are really funny, that when editors get one that's funny, they don't care. They're not as picky. Like, they're like, okay, thanks, and so I would find stuff where I'm like, this joke isn't good enough, and my editor didn't catch it, and I would be like annoyed. What I would like, I think, is for, if I write another book, is for a comedian to edit it. Because a comedian knows, like, hey, I know what you're going for on this one, or this could be better. And I almost think the bar is lower for comedy books because most, quote, humor books aren't funny. They're like mildly amusing, and maybe you'll smile when you read it, but you're not going to laugh. And so I would want somebody, I think, editing that has the same standards
Oh,
for
that makes
it.
sense.
You know what I mean?
That makes a lot of sense.
So anyway, so I'm frantically going through my book again and again and again, looking for stuff. And then other times you tweak something so much it doesn't look like, you're like, wait, what was I trying? So you're just doing this the whole time, and then the book's due, and you turn it in and cross your fingers and you hope it's okay. And then when you start reading it, like for me, I found sentences that I thought were too long. I'm like, I would have chopped this up now if I could have one more pass at this book. And, I think it worked fine. People seem to have liked it, but I there's always something that could be better. And you stumble on it when you're reading it out loud.
Oh, I see.
And you're like, it's too late. It's in print. I can't fix this.
Yeah. But there's got to be, you must go through that same thing, when you're getting your material ready to record that.
Yeah, but you can always change it on the next show. It's like, what if every show that was it for that joke?
Right.
How you did it that night is how it goes down in your personal history.
That would be scary, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I also noticed when I was looking on Amazon that they have the translated versions of your books.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Shitty Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What in Turkish? I saw the one.
Yeah.
Kakma Ani.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I didn't bring it along, but it's like
I have all the translations.
Yeah.
German is Bad Mutter.
Yes, I saw that one
That's
too.
my favorite one.
Mutter.
And the picture is like a blackbird stealing a baby. I'm like, what is this? This is nothing. There's no kidnapping in my book.
I did a double take. I'm like, is this?
It's so awesome.
It still says Laurie Kilmartin, but oh my god,
I know.
They really ruined this translation.
I know, so funny.
That's awesome. And for some reason, someone's selling a used copy. Did you see this? Of Shitty Mom on Amazon for $592.
Why would they sell it for that much? I bet that was a person who didn't properly enter the decimal point.
$5.92 for
yes.
a used one?
Yeah.
That could be. But
here,
I catch that every now and then as somebody being a weirdo, and posting something for outrageously high. That's not the first time.
Here at Acme, I do have copies that I'm selling for $591. So you can
undercutters.
Yeah, you
Nice.
can save a couple bucks if you come to the shows tonight.
Nice. Did you bring both books?
I did. Yeah.
Good. And then a few minutes ago, you said, if I write another book, do you have any idea what that? Is there anything in the back of your mind? Or that you
there's a
started,
couple
or
things. I'm working on a comic book with a guy he's illustrating it, and I'm writing a little strips where it's off my. I do this thing on Twitter called President Hillary Clinton, where I just make whatever Trump does, I just reverse it and have Hillary do it. You know,
I see those.
And the best ones are the ones that would drive Fox News batshit crazy if she was doing it.
Yes.
And of course, they're completely silent when he does it.
Mm-hmm.
And including all the sexual stuff, like my Hillary is married to her third husband named Mellon, and they have a kid, and she fucks porn stars, male porn stars, while Mellon was home, bottle feeding the baby. And they have a daughter named Hillary Clinton. She has a daughter named Hillary Clinton Jr., who's just completely craven and pointless, and has also left her husband and her 5 children for an MSNBC host. And it's like, it's, people always go, imagine if Hillary did this. And it's like, I did. And I'm going to take it a little bit further and create a world where, she has done that. So, and she got to be president, and she lost by 3 million, but she's still the president, and Republicans are cool with it. Yeah. They didn't riot or anything like that. So hopefully we can have some of those out by the midterms, and then maybe put a book together by 2020.
That sounds great.
And it'd be a book you could give your conservative family members and just go, this is, because it will all be 100% what he did. I don't have to make anything up.
No.
No.
That is the amazing thing, is these things are really happening.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. And I'm glad you brought up because I have that in my notes here, putting Hillary's name in the tweets. I love it. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
How often But I mean, I suppose people that follow you, are people retweeting your stuff, and then others are like, "What the fuck is she?" Like getting upset.
Every once in a while, somebody does.
You see that then?
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then I'll just say, "Could you just reread the phrase President Hillary Clinton? You should be okay."
Yeah. How are you? Are you using Twitter any more now than you were in the past?
Yeah.
Less?
I use it to get news. I didn't used to use it to get news, but I don't think people, as many journalists were on for a long time. I guess in the past 5 years, it just became a news source.
I love it for news.
Yeah, and then I just like to. I don't really post jokes for my act, but I think I have a Twitter voice that is separate from my act, and so I just kind of write in there, and hopefully that people could, if they like me, they'll find me and buy my book and
come to the shows
see.
at Acme.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
exactly.
That's my hope.
Yeah. Other social media?
I'm really fallen off of Facebook. Just because of the whole Russia Cambridge Analytica thing. I just feel disgusted and I don't want to participate. But I kind of have to a little bit just because it helps me get work and stuff. So I usually just post gigs. I used to forward my tweets to Facebook, and I just don't want to contribute to their traffic anymore. And people can find me on Twitter if they like the kind of stuff I write there.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to bring up back to the your book, Dead People Suck.
Mm-hmm.
I was it has really good reviews on Amazon, and I heard you on the Jackie and Laurie podcast saying, you're encouraging people that have read your stuff to review it.
Yeah,
on Amazon.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I was reading one of the reviews, and I'm like, who? And it started off, I died laughing, and I'm like, is that a little play on words here? I died laughing reading a book about dead people suck. Then I looked at the name. And it was Andy Erickson. She wrote the review.
I know. I think she wrote the first review.
Yeah.
And I was
my guest last week on episode 300.
To her. Yeah. She's the best.
I love how things tie together like that.
Yeah.
That's
she
awesome.
was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because of course, as soon as it was released, I was checking reviews constantly to see what people thought. And then the first one, I think she wrote the first one. And the second one was a 1-star review from someone who didn't read it that was referenced a tweet I did at Elon Musk, which got...
Maybe I saw this. Yeah.
A while ago. He was just, he launched some rocket or whatever bullshit he's up to. So he tweeted about. So I just tweeted. I didn't quote tweet him. I just was in the comments. I'm like, could you just donate to a food bank? Because that same day in Los Angeles, there had been this article about just so many hungry people, and the rocket he had shot was over LA. So the rocket is it's passing over people that are starving, and it's unnecessary in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It was just gross display of wealth and a guy who's bored with his money. And a guy who wants to go to Mars, and it's like, you have this money, you're not trying to solve real problems here. You're trying to figure out how you can escape to Mars. Yeah. Fuck you. Yeah. Then I got into an argument with some followers of his that were like, well, he's a great man. You should be thankful he exists and stuff. And then that argument got people very angry that I talked back to these men in such a rude way. And then these little sites, there's one called Bored Panda, but there's also these little sites where you're like, who are these people? But they feed content to Facebook all the time. Oh, so it's woman has her ass handed to her. And I'm like, oh no, it wasn't handed to me. I still don't agree with you. Yeah. You can think I'm a dumb bitch, but my ass wasn't handed to me. I still think he's maybe worthwhile in some way, but I think he's a gross example of what's wrong with the Silicon Valley and what's wrong with tech culture and how they're actually harming the United States and harming most people, So even though I participate in it because I'm on Twitter. But anyway, so that one guy who was part of that wrote me. I have. Yeah. He's like, maybe you should donate your profits to food shelter, something like that, where it's like, and I said to Amazon, I'm like, does it sound like he read a book? Really? Does it sound like he read it? This is posted 12 hours after the book was published.
It's the first thing I thought, Laurie. Yeah. Like, okay, 13th it was out and 14th the guy wrote this?
Right.
No, there's no way he read it because it has nothing to do with it. And I didn't know know the background that you just explained, I'm going, he's mad about something else.
Yeah. And so that happens, like Megyn Kelly, who I can't stand, but she had, a lot of people started like 0 or 1 starring her book that came out because they don't like her. It's still, it's a shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
But you know what? Some people like doing shitty things. They get off on it because they have tiny dicks.
It all still comes down to that, doesn't it?
It really does.
Let me look over my notes. Is there anything else we should be mentioning here? I want you to get to your swimming and get your laps in.
Oh yeah, man.
I did last week's episode with Andy. I brought up to her the article that you were quoted in about the pay for comedians in LA.
Right. Yeah.
She hadn't heard about that.
Yeah.
And she was pretty shocked, as you were.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, really? So I'm not...
The Hollywood Reporter did a comedy issue, and the guy who decided to tackle stand-up in LA just did a really... I don't know if the whole thing was a bad job, but the one thing he did is he said without attribution, so it just came in the middle of a paragraph, and there wasn't a quote. It was just him saying... beginning or newer comics can make between $1,200 and $2,500 a week on the LA circuit. And first of all, there's no LA circuit. There's nothing. You just do spots, and you do them at bars or comedy clubs or weird venues, and that's it. There's no circuit.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain this to Andy last week, and I said, and it said new comics. She's like, new? What does that even mean? New?
I don't know what that means. And also, 12 to 2,500 is road money. For headliners only.
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
So then the guy, so a bunch of comics, sort of tweeted back at that going, what the fuck?
Right.
And then he got very defensive. It's like, well, the rest of the issue was really good. It's like, yeah, but, and he goes, and a CAA agent told me that. And it's like, well, why didn't you quote the CAA agent? Because you just wrote it in your voice. Yeah. And it made you look really dumb and lazy, And he never, it's weird. It was just like this odd arrogance from a reporter of, you know what? I was given the wrong information. I don't think he was. I think he made it up. Why? I can't imagine an agent saying that. I can't imagine a stand-up agent being that ignorant and giving a reporter that kind of information. And why that guy didn't back it up by asking any comics is like,
right.
It sounded like he just wanted to, they wanted a positive issue, and they wanted, they're trying to sell stand-up as, I don't know why would you encourage people to move to LA to do stand-up if they think that's what they can make?
Right.
I don't know. It was just baffling that something so easily verifiable wasn't verified.
I kind of want to bring it up forever now on the podcast, just because the reactions are so great of people that that live that life. And it's like, well, no, nobody's giving me. I'm getting a beer. I'm getting maybe enough to pay for parking,
drink ticket, maybe gas money. Maybe.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are put on by comics who are just trying to get stage time for themselves and their friends,
or losing money putting on a show from whatever.
Yeah. So it was just really sloppy.
Ridiculous. I think I've taken up enough of your time today. I don't usually bring up these stupid things. National Fried Chicken Day. Your thoughts?
Good luck, fried chicken. I don't know. Are they hurting? It seems like America is already eating a lot of fried chicken. I don't know why they had to lobby for their own day.
I don't know.
I think they're good. That's my feeling.
I think so too. I think that's it. I think people that have made it all the way through to the end of this episode are big fans and need to come see you here at Acme if they don't already have tickets. Because we will post this today.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah. So before you leave town, people have a chance to hear this. So follow Laurie on Twitter and buy her book and come see her at Acme.
Yeah,
and,
see me at Acme tonight or tomorrow night. And then if you can come by on Sunday, I do a reading. And if you want to buy a book, I'll listen to your cancer story.
But seriously, buy a book. Thank you, Laurie.
I'm not your therapist.